Welcome again, everyone. If you're just joining us, my name is Chelsey Leruth, and I'm the program director for the New Orleans chapter of the Albert Schweitzer Fellowship. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for this webinar about the application process for the 2021-22 cohort of New Orleans Schweitzer Fellows. And so the vision of the fellowship now is to develop a global core of what we call leaders in service who are working with and within their communities to promote positive change, both within our healthcare and human service systems, and really the world beyond that. So here in New Orleans, we have graduated over 120 Schweitzer Fellows that join the ranks of over 4,000 Fellows for Life across the country. And graduate or health profession student in a degree granting program, you remaining enrolled in your program through May 2022. So the spring of the next academic year. Sometimes we do grant waivers for winter graduation. So if that is the case for you, please reach out to me and we can discuss the timeline for your degree program. And you also need to commit to be available to attend our spring orientation in May, and then other fellowship events throughout the year, which you can find some details about that on our website, asfnola.org. The core of the Schweitzer Fellowship is a community-based project that is designed to address an unmet health or social need in the greater New Orleans area. Each fellow will partner with a community organization, either a nonprofit, a healthcare or social service agency, to plan and deliver their project. And the projects are conducted over the course of a year. The fellowship runs spring to spring. So this coming spring, April 2021 through next spring, April 2022. And that project should include at least 100 hours of what we call direct service. And this has looked a little different during COVID times, but traditionally that direct service is face-to-face with the priority population and community members that the project is intended to serve. Some of that direct service this year has been virtual. So we'll talk about that a little bit more and what that may look like for next year. I would recommend again that if you go on our website on the Become a Fellow page, you can find more detailed guidelines about projects. So for this coming year, we decided that we would identify some specific health and social priority areas. And it's important to us in administering the fellowship that we allow for flexibility in terms of the needs of the community and the passions and skills and interests of our fellows. However, due to COVID-19, there are some very specific health and social areas of need in the greater New Orleans community. So we wanted to highlight these for interested students during the application process to help provide some inspiration for our project topics. So we would love to see at least some applications for project proposals around these areas. However, we definitely welcome proposals on other topics, and you are welcome to propose something for a project that is outside of this list. However, any proposal really should address a topic that is a priority need in the greater New Orleans area. And is relevant to the community members and the organization that you would be partnering with here. So some of those topics for this year, those priority topics are access to childcare and housing, crisis intervention. We know that in particular, there have been spikes in interpersonal violence and child abuse during the pandemic. There have been learning losses during COVID, so we're interested in seeing proposals for education projects. Food security has been another large issue, especially with many children out of school not receiving nutrition services in the form of school breakfast and lunch. Access to medication and mental health and substance abuse services, workforce training with high levels of unemployment or underemployment, or also any projects that are addressing broader or different health and social needs of other frontline workers impacted by COVID-19. So people like nurses, hospital sanitation workers, transportation workers, folks in those, or hospitality workers, folks in those fields that are often public facing or have been hit especially hard by the pandemic. So the application components. There are three main components in the application. One is some information about your project, which is what we're going to spend the most time talking about this evening. Second is some personal statements about you yourself. And then third is references. And this really is how we judge applicants for the fellowship. We look at this whole package. We look at both the strength of the project proposal, how feasible is it, its relevance to the community, the potential impact that it will have, for leadership development, your interest in community engagement, your preference for working in teams and collaboration. And then we also, gather those feedback from references as well. And next year, we will probably accept around 10 fellows. The number is always flexible depending on the diversity of the applicant pool, both in terms of the type of different degree programs and schools that fellows apply from, because it's very important to us to craft an interdisciplinary cohort. This year we have fellows from Tulane, LSU, and Xavier pursuing degrees in medicine, public health, pharmacy, and dentistry. And I know many of you, come from those fields or come from other fields. And it's important to us to have that mix of different schools and degree programs represented in the fellowship cohort. So we look for that in addition to the strength of the application proposal. And then we also look for diversity in topics. So we don't want to have 10 projects all focused on food security. We like to have a nice blend of different topics and you download the application template. I will share these slides after the webinar. And again, if you go on our website on the apply page, then you can download a Word template that has all of the detailed application questions on it to start looking at. I'm just going to take a peek at the chat to see if anyone has popped in with any specific questions. Nope, not yet. Okay, if there's anything that you want me to clarify before the Q&A at the end as we're going along, feel free to put those in the chat. Okay, so let's dive into the application in a little bit more detail. So the first, the main meaty section of the application is your project proposal. And this is going to include a few different components. First, we're going to ask for your potential community partner, so the organization that you were interested in partnering with for your fellowship. We always recommend that people strive to identify that partnership as early as possible during the planning process for your project. However, we know that sometimes people may not have solidified the specific community partner before you apply, and that is okay. You can put TBD in that slot of the location, but we are going to ask some questions still during the interview process about what types of community partners you envision would be a good fit for your project and what progress you have made so far in reaching out to prospective partners. We're also going to ask for some information about the priority population that your project would serve, some demographics, and sort of a mini needs and assets assessment of sort of why is this particular project or health or social needs initiative relevant to that group. Then project goals and activities. So you'll need to specify the big picture overarching goal of your project. So what specific health status or social well-being issue are you looking to improve in the New Orleans area? And what are the more specific objectives? So changes in things like knowledge, attitudes, skills, self-efficacy, access to services, or enhancements of health or social systems that you're looking for your project to improve. And what are some of your ideas about the different activities, services, and interventions that you will design and deliver to accomplish those goals? We'd like to hear about the possible timeline for your project. So between April 2021 and April 2022, when will you plan and then implement different components of your project? And how will you allocate the 200 hours of your project time during the fellowship year? And then we also ask for some information about potential evaluation and sustainability plans. So it's really important to us to guide fellows in creating projects where the organization that you are working with can learn from the initiative, and the organization and community members can benefit from the project long term. So we'd like to see some initial thoughts about how you plan to assess the outcomes of the project and help keep the project continuing on in the community beyond your time as a fellow. And then the last question in this section is a new question related to COVID-19. So it is not, required that your project will be completely in person or completely virtual. It's not required that you have a fully fleshed out in-person and virtual plan in the application process, but we do want to hear a little bit about how, if more virtual service delivery is needed, or if New Orleans returns to phase 2 or phase 3, where some of the public health guidelines and social distancing requirements are more stringent, how would your project adapt to that? What makes it feasible in the landscape of COVID-19? And as you are beginning to put together more details of your project, at any point, if you would like assistance in thinking through any of these specific areas of your proposal, please feel free. A few different questions asking for some feedback and perspective from you as the potential applicant about what was the inspiration for your project idea. We're also asking this year for applicants to reflect on how you handle failure. So being able to be resilient and flexible in the face of a very unpredictable public health landscape, and also the challenges on your time that will inevitably arise as a fellow is obviously very important for you and your project to succeed in this experience. So we'd like a little bit of insight into how you have handled challenges past, and why you want to pursue the fellowship, what draws you to this experience, why it's important to you, what you see yourself contributing to and getting out of this experience. And then the last main section of the application is a reference section. So we do not need letters of recommendation. We simply need contact at potential academic another academic reference. So for this one, preferably the person who serves as your academic advisor, or if your program is not structured that way, it might be your program department or program or department chair, or maybe it might be another professor who you have taken classes with in the past that knows you well. Sometimes for the fellowship, that academic mentor may be one of those people, but we're just looking for another academic reference that knows you well and can speak to how well this fellowship experience will fit into your academic experience. And then the fourth is a professional reference. So someone that you have worked with previously in the course of another employed position, an internship, a community or volunteer position. And you can find more information about the specific roles and responsibilities of prospective site and academic mentors on our website, again, in the project guidelines section on the Become a Fellow page. So sample application timeline. So this was a lot of information that I just threw at you. So we're going to break down how you can set yourself up to step through the development process to craft a strong application between now and February when the application is due. So this month, for the remainder of November, I would recommend that you definitely download the application template, focus on defining your project topic and priority population. And if you have not already, make sure that you are actively reaching out to potential site partners and mentors. Those are the people that are really going to be key in shaping the focus and specific goals and deliverables of your project. And they are also the people that can give you feedback on the feasibility and relevance of your ideas and really help you to flesh out your proposal. So often that relationship development can take some time. So starting as early as you can with reaching out to mentors and partners is definitely important. So December, working on developing your more detailed project proposal. We think it's important during the project development phase for you to reflect on what are the specific needs and strengths of the community members and organization that you will be partnering with for your project, and how do those fit into the new project that you are proposing. Consult the literature. So likely there are other initiatives either in the New Orleans area or in other states or other metropolitan areas where individuals or organizations may have conducted a project or a program or some type of community-based initiative similar to what you were proposing. So use those ideas, draw from them. You don't have to completely reinvent the wheel for your project. And then definitely share your plan and gather feedback from your potential mentors, from current and past fellows, and from me as the program director. You can find contact information for our current fellows on our website, and then you can also view some of the details of their past projects as well. And then January, after the new year, recommend that you spend that time revising your project proposal based on any feedback that you've gotten, completing your personal statement, verifying your references. So make sure you notify the people that you are listing as references that they may be contacted and that they understand what the fellowship is and what the opportunity is that you're applying for. And then remember to proof your application draft. And then you can submit your application whenever you are ready by February 1st. Through the online application form. So we really recommend that you put it together first in a Word document and have it fully prepared, and then you'll copy and paste your segments into the application form online. Okay, so just some other key dates that you may want to mark your calendar for, and so you have an understanding of the selection process. After applications are received by February 1st. We do an initial review of those applications among our board members and some fellows for life, our alumni that participate on our selection committee. And then in mid-April, February 23rd and 24th, we will hold interviews. Those likely will be virtual this year, but there will be more details about that after the new year and after the application deadline that come out. And then we typically have a fast turnaround, and we send acceptance letters to new fellows by the end of February. So I want to offer some words of support and encouragement to you all from Albert Schweitzer. He said that the purpose of life is to serve and to show compassion and the will to help others. And we are always so inspired by the ideas and passion and expertise that our applicants put forward every year. And we are very excited to see the proposals that you are developing. And I want you also to know that, again, you are not alone in this process. There's a lot of resources to help you. If you continue to follow us on social media, there will be additional tips about building a strong application. So I encourage you to check out our Instagram page, ASF_NOLA. There'll be some videos and some other tips coming out through there, our Facebook page, and you can also reach out to me individually. This is my email, and I'm happy to schedule either a phone or a Zoom conversation with you.